Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channels. We are in for another podcast natter, and this time we've got Ian Robinson from Reiki Zen. Whee!
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello everybody. It's nice to chat again, Claire.
Yeah, we've not chatted for some time, have we? Do you know, I was trying to
Oh,
think about this. Is it 2 years?
oh, it's a while. Well,
Yeah.
I've seen you in person since then because we
Oh, yeah,
because I
yeah,
popped around with Kirsty, didn't I? But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But
um but since doing something like this, it's been a while. Yeah, a couple of
yeah,
years probably. Year two. The thing is, time's irrelevant, isn't it? Time's just like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it has no meaning anymore. It's weird, isn't it?
No, no,
Like
we talk about this a lot, don't we? The breaking down of time, that time is breaking down,
yeah, yeah,
and glitches in time as well. Um, and we thought we'd get together and talk about the benefits of Reiki because you're a Reiki master teacher and I do Reiki and
yeah,
exercise
yeah.
because we've both found exercise, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
And the benefits of it. I mean, you do PT training. You're qualified now, aren't you?
Level two qualified, yeah. I'm currently doing
Woo!
doing my level three now as well. So
Mm,
that'll give me the chance to do in person one-to-one training with people as well. So yeah.
mm, mm. Yeah, because I don't know about you, but I think, when we first start this path, it's all about the soul, when really it's mind, body, and soul. And we
Mm,
can focus all on the Reiki and the meditation and all of that kind of stuff and the crystals and the courses, which is great, but we can forget about the body.
yeah.
And well, you'll know as well the benefits of a workout, be it, the gym, Pilates, yoga, running, walking, swimming.
Mm,
It's phenomenal. I'll wake
yeah.
up in the morning and I'm like, I can't be arsed. And I get
Yeah.
in that gym, which is just there. You can see it treadmill there, which is just there. And I come out and it's like being a different woman.
Yeah. It is. It's so transformative. Transformative. It really is. And yeah, when you get up with that mindset, if you just like, oh, I can't be bothered today. I can't. I'm going to skip a day or whatever. And then you do skip the day and the rest of the day just feels the same.
Mm,
But when you get them days where you don't skip it and you just do it, like your days just like you have so much energy, you feel so much more alive, you're more alert. Everything just seems to flow better in your day, and I think when you do have those times of just feeling stagnant and
mm,
heavy and blocked, your body's telling you something. Your body's telling you to get up and move. If you get
mm,
up and
mm.
move, you'll shift your energy, you'll shift your
Yeah.
focus, you'll get out of that mindset. And that's why the body, the energy, the mind, it's all so connected. Like
Mm,
like you said, we tend to forget about that. Um, and one of the really interesting things that I found when I started working out was in it, which was I started with a PT in April. Myself and my partner we decided to start going to the gym, working out together. So we've got something to do together,
mm,
and we've got like this goal that we want to work on. And it was all around about the same time in April. There was loads of guys that I follow on Instagram, on Facebook that are like Reiki practitioners or they do some sort of spiritual practice, the meditation, this, that, and the other. They all started going to the gym at the same
weird,
time
isn't it?
around about in April. I'm just like, wow, this is like there's something
Could be,
going on,
could be astrology, couldn't it? Or like a collective energy.
yeah, yeah. I was thinking more of a collective energy that was going on that was giving us like it's time to look at the body because your
Mm,
body is your carrier of your energy and your soul and your mind and
mm.
everything. So you got to look after it. Yeah,
Do you know what I've just been given the vision of? It's almost like like a call to battle, literally.
yeah,
A
yeah,
call to battle back in the day when there was something amiss within the world. They'd
yeah,
train up for it, wouldn't they? They train like for the shield wall.
yeah,
Because there's so much shifting now, I think to get through all the shifts, all the news, all the stuff that's happening, I think you have to be at the fittest you can. And I know that can be
mm,
triggering, but it's almost like on an energetic perspective, something saying, you can't be a sloth anymore
yeah, yeah,
because that you're gonna it's the energies that are out there in the world that they're gonna hit you a lot harder
yeah,
if you've not conquered that, the soul, the mind, the body.
mm, yeah.
And we can
Well,
feel that something's coming in a shift and want to get ourselves as fit as we can for it.
yeah. I mean, that comes down to like, if you're into that sort of thing, it comes down to like one of the seven deadly sins, isn't it? The sloth
Mm,
thing, just the
mm,
laziness, the
mm,
slovenliness, and it's. in a way, it's quite right because
Mm,
when you get into that mindset and you get into that way of being and just like, just plodding through life and just, not really,
mm,
you lose all self-respect, all self-care, you lose care for others, you lose the love for others,
mm,
you lose that compassion for yourself and for others. That is everything that we need to function on a divine level with everybody else. So actually coming out of that state and actually looking at ourselves, focusing on ourselves,
yeah.
exercising, tuning into everything that we need to tune into, it helps to harness that. It helps to harness your mind, body, and soul on so many different levels.
Mm, definitely. It really does.
Mm.
And I think as well, like we said earlier about moving energies, a lot of the time you can have a dense energy and you need to get rid of it. And I think sometimes the only way you can get rid of it is to move. There's a lot of people like Tai Chi and what's the other thing?
It's qigong
Qigong,
as well.
Qigong,
Yeah,
Qigong
yeah,
as well. And there's a lot of like dancey type things online at the minute, like TikTok, where it's all about moving energy through the body
yeah, yeah.
rather than just letting it lay stagnant.
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
but you know what, as well, I don't, well, you will have noticed this, but if I spend a lot of time on devices, I go really sluggish. I go
yeah,
really sluggish. And I can almost feel that energy being pulled.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
really weird because it's not what I'm watching, because I'm trying to be mindful of that. It's just that whole thing of that world, that
yeah.
device world.
Yeah, it sucks you in, doesn't it? It
Mm,
really does suck you in, and you become encapsulated by it all in a
mm.
way. And I mean, we're all guilty of doing the old doom scroll thing, and
Oh,
looking
yeah.
through, see what's going on. But and when I'm doing it, like here, like my third eye, my head, and I just feel like I'm just like the screen is just like taking me in, and
Mm,
you have to just put it down and just put it away because you can
mm,
just feel
mm,
like
mm.
the toxicity coming out of the screen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's something to do with, because I know there's a lot of evidence now to do with the actual LCD, the
Mm,
light,
mm,
the
mm,
displays and things that can have that effect as well.
mm.
So, but yeah,
Yeah, I know.
okay,
I
go.
know. I don't know if it's David Icke, somebody they've done some stuff on that with doctors about the effect of the screen and like the
Mm,
effect of scrolling is like a hypnotic. If you think
yeah,
about I mean, you'll know hypnosis if you're scrolling.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? I can feel
yeah,
myself getting hypnotized when I go on.
yeah. Because the flicker that happens, you're not consciously aware of it because it's so fast.
Mm, mm,
But the actual mind is taking it all in, so that
mm,
flicker is happening, and it has that, yeah, that encapsulating sort of effect on the mind.
mm.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
and and when you can feel you and you know sometimes when you feel yourself doing it to actually pull yourself off of it is quite a big thing.
Mm.
If you have to like, and you feel yourself coming to and going, "Oh my God!" Like
Yeah.
some people
Yeah.
lose hours doing that.
Yeah.
Do you know that's? I don't know if you've got an iPhone, but iPhone let you know at the end of the week how many hours you've spent on your phone.
Yeah. 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 I know. You look at it and you think,
Ooh.
really? How much? Yeah.
That's scary when you like, it comes up and it's like, what could you have got done in that time?
Mm.
What course could you have done? What gym session could you have got done?
Yeah.
What book
Yeah.
could you have read?
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. Because
it's
even a gym session for a lot of people now has become like time spent on the phone because there's so many online gym influencers that are
yeah.
just constantly on the phones, like videoing the workout. Okay, they're videoing it to show it to somebody, to show like a different way of working out or different
Mm,
techniques or this, that, or the other. But really, like going to the gym, it's your time. It's for you
mm,
to just like detach from everything and focus
mm,
entirely on you. Focus on your mind, your body, your soul. Yeah, and I think there has to be a line drawn
mm,
where those things cross that barrier, and you
mm,
just like, no, this is my time now, and that's a very healing way of doing things. Is
mm,
just saying no and detaching from it and having that boundary and saying, no, this is my
yeah,
time now.
yeah. And I think as well, because we used to listen to music in the gym, whereas now I'd be mindful of that.
Mm, yeah,
Um, so we're in a bit of a pickle. We're in a bit of a pickle when podcasts are good. But I'm even wary of podcasts that I'm listening to at the minute as well. It's like, even do you
mm,
find this? Even like well-being stuff, I listen to it and I'm like, I don't like this. It's almost like some of the well-being stuff can put pressure on you, or
Yeah,
can take you down. It's complex, isn't it? Because
yeah,
we need to learn and expand, but also as well, sometimes it can be too much.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I think as well, like with reels on Instagram and that, when you're scrolling through, and TikTok, it hits you. You haven't like with YouTube, you can go on and think, I'm going to watch that, so I'm going to press on it. An advert comes on, so you've still got time to change your mind, and then you
Mm,
can watch it. Whereas with TikTok and reels on Instagram, it hits you.
mm, yeah,
And especially like with mental health, perimenopause, life, and you know yourself, you can be like a sponge. So you can be feeling quite well in yourself. And by the time you're finished, you feel perimenopausal. You feel like you've got ADHD. You feel like it's like, whoa.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely does something. Um, and what you were saying there about the influence, there's so many people now that are out there, and they're wanting to spread the message, but it's kind of like it's like so in your face. It's like you must do this, you must do that, you must stop doing this, you must stop doing that. You're like, well, hang on a minute, we've
Yeah.
all got our own individual journeys, and even if your journey is wrong and you're not in the right place or you're not in the right mindset, you need to be in that place because you have to learn from it. You can't have
Mm-hmm.
someone else tell you exactly what they're doing because that worked for them. They're totally
Mm-hmm.
different from you. We're all so individual.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us back to looking at our divinity and our
Mm-hmm.
divine self, our light, our source, and tuning deeper into that to know what resonates with us, what resonates with our soul, and what's going to feed us. Um, and sometimes for a lot of people, it's just knowing how to connect to that again, because many people are just so lost and have
Mm-hmm.
no idea of how to get back to themselves again.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Definitely. Do you know gyms? Do you think gyms are going to play a big role in New Earth type energies of people coming together? I know it's a complex one because the last gym I went to was Everlast and it was huge and it was a very cold place, very weird.
Mm,
I didn't like the energy there. But I used to years ago go to a little gym. I've been to a couple of little gyms and they've actually been like little community hubs
mm,
where it's not just been a gym, it's been a place for people to talk.
yeah.
Do you think gyms going to be like the new type of libraries where people get together and naturally have other safe spaces to focus on the health and well-being?
I think there will be. I think definitely for the smaller, more independent gyms. I'm not sure about the chain gyms because I've been to chain gyms before,
Mm,
and there's a lot of toxic masculinity, toxic femininity as well. You know,
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff gets thrown around in there, and you just
yeah,
like you don't move, you don't know what you didn't look at somebody. It's a bit like, you know, when you
yeah.
used to go into like a pub or a nightclub years ago, you know, and you'd be like, oh God, I don't like the look of them. I better not look at
Mm,
them. They look, you know, and it's a bit like that as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
So I think more independent, smaller gyms, I think they're going to play a huge pivotal role in that. Yeah, because
Mm,
I mean, the gym that I go to, it's a really really small gym. There's not like loads of equipment. It's mainly free weights. There's some cardio stuff, and it's all basically group based and one-to-one training as well. Um, and there's a whole range of stuff on there from just working out. Plus, I mean, I run like meditation nights there as well. I do qigong
yeah,
sessions there. I'm starting to do some of the gym training sessions as well there. There's Pilates, there's boxing, you know, so there's a good range of
yeah.
stuff that's in there because it's looking at health and wellness and fitness from a holistic point of view
Mm,
rather than just like the physical point of view. It's looking at it from the
mm,
whole, from the bigger picture, and that's very much to do
mm.
with this, I think, with this new earth energy that's coming in for everybody.
Yeah, because not everyone wants to do the same thing. Like you'll get some people that want to box, or they want
Mm,
to run, or they want to do weights, or they want to do Pilates or yoga.
yeah,
So it's a good way. And I think a lot of people can get put off exercise because they get shown the main ones,
yeah,
whereas there's all different ones that you can do.
yeah. Oh, definitely. And it's the old typical like adverts that we see, isn't it? Where you'll see like a man or a woman that's in like sort of the most amazing shape. You know, they've probably got abs and
Mm,
biceps and this, that, and the other, and that's the advert of what wellness and health is supposed to look like. But in actual fact, like to keep that sort of physique, it's not long term. You can't maintain a physique like that for a long period of
mm,
time because
mm,
you haven't got enough body fat to sustain your energy levels.
mm,
So you're just going to be constantly depleted, and then what's that going to do to the mind? You know, if you're constantly depleted, it's going to have an effect on your mind, which is going to have an effect on your spirit as well. So
Mm.
it's looking at it from a whole, again, from a holistic point of view, a holistic angle.
Do you know, it's funny you should say that because at the minute, I don't know if it's because I'm a woman, so I get a different algorithm or what, but as a woman at the minute, you get a lot of women that there's this big, I don't even know about this, but they're getting encouraged to bulk up big time. Not just tone up, but bulk up.
Mm,
And like bulk up with the thighs and the arses as well. You see
mm,
it and you're like, do you know this rise in the divine feminine energy? Do you think that that could also be a way of getting people away from the divine feminine energy? There's a difference between a woman that's toned to a
mm.
woman that's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Where
think
she
there's a bit
looks
of a
like
I think there's a bit of a confusion in it's a bit probably a bit of a taboo subject, but there's
mm,
a bit of a confusion with identity with people, with
mm,
like who they are, you know, and especially now in this day and age, there's so much stuff out there,
mm,
and I don't know, it just you see things and you just think, well, who are they trying to be? What are they trying to be? Are they trying
mm,
to play someone else that's not
mm.
actually them? You know, are they trying to? Because we're all actors in a way, and we're all writing our own
Mm,
script, and we're all playing our own play. But some people want to find something else, or someone else, or a different body to characterize themselves as somebody else, and not be
yeah.
who they truly are. So yeah, are they being true to themselves? Is that who
Yeah,
they?
that's true, is
Is
that?
that
So,
is that who they actually want to be, or is it something that's kind of like, oh, I really like the look of them. I really like how big they've got, or how built they've become, and I want to look like that, and I want to be like that. So
mm,
again, you're following an external rather than going back to your true self. So
yeah.
it's leading you away all the time. There's a lot of that going on, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, is that? Because, years ago you'd go to the gym for the buzz, for the feel-good factor, to keep your weight off, lose weight, whatever, and to
Mm,
be the best version of yourself. Whereas now, because you're shown these different pictures of men and women,
mm,
it's like I want to be that.
yeah.
We all need. It's almost like the system saying we all want you looking like that.
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the defined image of health and wellness.
Mm,
That external, again, it's external. What's going on inside in the
mm,
person is totally different. Yeah, they might look amazing, but inside there could be a whole torrent of stuff going on that you just don't know about. And it's a bit like the mass consumerism thing through social
mm,
media,
mm,
whereas before it was all about you have to shave your watches, you get this, get that.
mm,
You know, this is how you identify yourself by having all these amazing things. And now it's like having the body. You know, it's
mm.
a lot, so much externalizing, so much of it.
It's exhausting, isn't it? Because you feel like you've just got to watch yourself all the time.
Mm,
'Cause I do a lot of booktube and I watch a lot of booktube, and I got into a awful habit without realizing I was doing it of buying lots of books,
mm,
books that were the latest craze. I didn't even realize I was doing it till recently, and it's like, what are you doing?
yeah, yeah,
And you'd
yeah,
think books are wholesome,
yeah.
and I've seen crafting sites as well. You think crafting is wholesome, and then
Mm,
it's I've got to buy that cotton, I've got to buy that thread, I've got to buy that material, I've got to
yeah,
buy that paint, and before
yeah.
you know it, it's like, what have I done?
Yeah, you've got a room full of stuff that you're not probably going to use once and never use again, and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh God, yeah.
And Uva made rich, and it's again our recent ancestors wouldn't have been doing that.
Mm, yeah, they'll just use what they've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's like your grandmother used to always say, "Make do amend," you know, and
Mm,
things like that. You know, that's what you used to do. That's how you get on with it. Yeah, it's a strange time because we're bringing in a lot of like sort of traditional old ways that were sort of like very earthy and very grounded and
mm,
kept stability, you know, but we're also getting this higher frequency energy coming in to actually ascend us higher through the frequencies to like tune more into
mm,
the love and compassion and the joy. But having love and compassion and joy as well as being grounded at the same time. And I think, I don't know, maybe it was kind of like separate back then. Maybe it was all just about, you know, because when you're thinking about like sort of if you go back say 1920s, 1930s, it was the world was
mm,
all based around fear, you know, wars and this, that, and the
mm,
other. So it was, you know, and over time you can see this gradual progression through the scale of consciousness of people are awakening, going
Mm,
more into the heart center.
mm.
So it's interesting.
It's interesting you should say that because, well, at the time of filming, this video, I won't be putting it out until Tuesday, but on today, at the time of filming, yesterday, I channeled Hitler.
Oh, right.
Bloody hell, as you
Bloody hell.
do. And
As you
actually
do.
that came up in the channeling about the frequency then and the frequency now, because I asked about World War III, and
Mm,
that came up about the difference in frequencies, and that in order for war to really take on, it has to be in denser frequencies.
yeah.
And that's not saying that countries where there is its denser frequencies, but how it was explained, it's over a vast amount of areas.
Mm,
And it's like if you've got, like, I've got, what is it, 10 crystals on there. If eight of those 10 crystals can hold high frequency, it carries out the other stuff that wants to come, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting.
Mm,
And that energy after the war of still waiting, what is it going to happen again? Like the air raid sirens going off every two
mm,
minutes. And
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because there's all those sort of cues, like you say, like the air raid siren, or back in 2020, it was all the warning sirens, wasn't it, of people like, oh, go indoors or whatever, or you shouldn't be out here, you shouldn't be doing that, you
Mm,
keep your distance, do, and it was very visual and very much in your face to try and again put fear and warning into people's psyches,
mm,
and another element of like hypnotic control that was going
mm,
on. So
mm.
yeah.
Yeah. But do you know the amount of stories that have come out from 2020 of people turning their lives around is phenomenal.
Mm. Oh
The
yeah.
amount of podcasts I've listened to where people were just at rock bottom before all that started, and
Mm-hmm.
2020 came in and they turned their lives around. It's phenomenal. And the amount of healers and
Mm.
therapists and motivational speakers that actually were created in 2020 is unbelievable.
Oh yeah. It had
Every time you
exactly.
see one coming, it's 2020, 2020, 20. You're like,
Yeah. It had the opposite effect of what
mm,
the system
mm,
was trying to do. Totally.
mm,
Yeah. It just.
mm,
Yeah. It was. It's been a big thing going on. These last sort
mm,
of 3 4 years. It's been amazing, and that's why now like you say, we see so many more healers. You see so many more
mm,
people that are looking to look at the health and wellness in a natural way. So
mm,
looking for things like Reiki, looking for
mm,
alternatives. Rather than just the mainstream
mm.
systems that are in place.
Yeah, yeah. And I think as well, yeah, I don't know about you, but the amount of clients that will say after a Reiki session, I loved that because it gave me a chance to just relax.
Yeah,
And it's like, whoa,
yeah.
whoa, because why are we not relaxing?
Yeah, exactly. Why are we not giving ourselves that chance
Yeah.
to that time? Um, and I've spoken to like quite a few clients recently where they're just constantly on the go. They
Mm,
don't give themselves any time, like to just stop and they're like, oh well, I need to do this to make that much money to be able to feed the family and pay the house and pay the bills and do the mortgage and do this and do that. And then I've got
mm,
this other project on the go, and it's just like, whoa, just take a step back, take a
mm,
breath. Like
mm,
why do you feel the need that you have to have all of these things going on? Um, yeah, and I think just taking a step back and relaxing. I was just thinking about this the other day. The act of relaxing, it's such a simple thing to
mm,
do, and I think because people maybe think, well, it's just relaxing, well, I can just do that at any time at home. But when do you actually do it? When do you
mm,
actually relax fully? When do you
mm,
actually stop with the chatter, stop with the hamster wheel
mm,
going
mm,
around, and just give you that self that time,
mm.
once a week, once a fortnight, just as that little reward to yourself to just stop and
Yeah.
just take heed, and that pausing and that stopping, it gives you the clarity of mind to be able to see what is actually going on in your life. And you become
Mm,
the thing that I found as well with a few, especially in-person clients, is they're just so not used to stopping that when they come to lie down, the mind is still going, and
mm,
you can actually feel the mind just ticking away, for the probably the first 20 minutes of the session, and then eventually they start to relax down and they get tuned in, and all that wonderful stuff starts to happen. but it actually scares them because they've stopped, and it
Mm,
makes them realize how much the mind is constantly going. Like, and that is the key for so much. Health and wellness is just being able to know what is going on in the mind. If
mm,
you don't know
mm.
what's going up there, you don't know what's going on out there.
No, no, it's food for thought, isn't it? The mind and what we get given on a daily basis,
Mm,
as in information and
yeah.
news. I mean, at the time of filming, we all know that there's certain fires going on in a certain part of the world, and I was thinking about it last night, and I was like, stop it, because I could actually feel a lot of the energy coming up off that, because I'm quite
Mm,
sensitive to that type of stuff, and it was like, doesn't matter, because every time you connect to something, every time you're thinking about it, you're
mm,
connecting. So I'm sat there thinking about this play. I'm not going to go into details on fire and all this energy coming up, and it's
mm,
like you're connecting with that. Stop. It
mm,
doesn't matter.
yeah.
Just allow the fire to do what it needs to do. Just allow it. Just allow it. And it's the same with anything, connecting with celebrity, famous people,
Mm,
especially the ones that you don't like, because you're connecting with that energy and it's drawing you down. Because
mm,
energy, I don't even think we've learned half of what we need to learn about energy
no.
and the profound effect that it has on us.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody came in now and says I'm full of cold, straight away you'd start to feel full of cold.
Mm,
We've all done it. Or
yeah.
somebody's
Yeah.
sickness bug and you're like, God, I feel a bit sick. And
Yeah.
that is freaky, is that?
Mm,
It's like a paper cut, in it. You don't realize you've had a paper cut until you see it and you go, ah, it hurts. And the
yeah.
minute you see it, it
Yeah.
starts to hurt. I've
Yeah.
done that
Yeah.
loads where I've not even known I've done it. And I've looked at it and it starts to hurt.
Mm, yeah. It just shows how powerful the mind is,
Mm.
and um, do you remember do you remember the TV series in like the late 70s and 80s called MASH? Do you remember that?
Yeah, but I don't think I ever watched it.
There's an episode. I love MASH. There's an episode on there where they can't get hold of these tablets. So in the end, the colonel at the time decides to give them a placebo. And he
Yeah,
said basically we have to convince them that this tablet is going to take all of that pain away. So they use these placebo tablets, and okay, yeah, they were acting. It's an episode, and this, that, and the other. But for that to come out at that time in that episode, for someone to think
yeah,
of that, to use a placebo, and it just shows that the consciousness then was aware of placebo and how powerful the mind is. And
yeah,
what you're saying there, as soon as you see something, you see like that, like you say, a paper cut, or you hear of it so many times where people might have like broken a finger, but they're not actually aware of it until they actually see it, and then oh no, and then all of a sudden the
yeah.
pain's there because they've got the visual representation of it.
Mm,
But until they actually see it and it actually comes into their consciousness, they're not aware of it.
mm.
It's really it. I think we're just scraping the power of the mind. We really are, and
It's freaky, isn't it?
energy itself is just like, yeah, we're just scraping the surface with it. It's so much deeper, and the other the other good thing I think about energy as well, and obviously energy healing, is the more you use it and the more you're on the path with it, the more you develop yourself and you
Mm,
learn more,
mm,
and you only learn at the rate that you need to learn,
mm, mm,
that your soul needs to learn,
mm.
because I think if you just got everything in one go, you'd be like, oh,
Oh God, yeah,
you'd be
God,
like
yeah.
totally overwhelmed, and you wouldn't know how to deal with it, how to process it, how to go through all the stuff that you need to go through.
Mm,
It'd be Yeah, it'd be so overwhelming, and yeah, I mean, even when I did my Reiki masterclass, and I got to the end of it, and I just thought, well, what now? I don't feel any different. I just feel, I think you think maybe you're gonna go through this sort of euphoric
mm,
change or whatever. But then, like, my guides were saying, well, no, now the learning truly
mm,
begins. This is
mm.
just because you're labeled as a Reiki master doesn't mean you're a master of anything.
No,
And
no.
for me, what I did, I mean, I did a video on this, but I went back to Reiki level 1 and I started going through all the studying again, but on a
Yeah.
deeper level, going into the philosophy of Reiki and I don't know if you've heard of the guy Franz Steiner,
Mm,
and going into the
mm,
philosophy of Reiki and going really deep with it. And you're like, whoa, this is like a whole other level of
mm,
stuff that you need to like look into.
mm.
It's
Yeah,
massive.
I was just talking to Kirsty about this because she was talking about shamanic healing course, and I said, you know. To be honest opinion, you don't really step into your healer energy until you're at least 3 years into your shamanic healing once you've
Mm,
qualified,
yeah,
because you get walloped with so much. It's like your driving test, isn't it? You don't really learn how to drive until you've got on the road that yourself. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then you learn how to become a driver. It's very different to step out, and I don't think we realize that. We do
Mm,
a course on Reiki or whatever, and people think that's it, they know everything.
yeah,
And the amount of people that won't keep up on their training and won't keep up on their studying, reading books, going to courses, seminar, or whatever,
yeah,
it's freaky actually.
yeah, yeah, and it shows the level of, I suppose, maybe not the level of training that they've had, but maybe their level of ego. You know, they got to a certain point and they
Mm-hmm.
think, oh, well, that's it now. You know, I have nowhere else to go. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much more to learn. There's also like so many different modalities of Reiki now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whereas it was maybe just like Asui and Karuna back in the day, whereas
Mm.
now there's angelic, there's holy
Yeah,
fire, there's all sorts of different forms of Reiki.
yeah. It's. Do you think there'll be more forms that'll come in?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't think it'll ever. I don't think it'll ever stop. And again, it's to do with the energy, isn't it? It's always evolving. You know,
Mm.
as we evolve, then the energy evolves, the Reiki evolves, the training practices evolve. I mean, now when I think of Reiki, um, I don't really think of it as even though I call it Reiki and I call myself a Reiki practitioner. For me, it's biofrequency healing. It's
Mm.
bioresonance healing because it's two people coming into a symbiotic state,
Mm.
and you just bringing each other into harmony, into a harmonious
Yeah.
way of being, and you're kind of like, because you've worked on yourself as a practitioner, going through all the practices and using the precepts and trying to instill as much of that into your life as possible, you're then passing that energy on to the other person and allowing them to raise their vibration
Mm.
to feel relaxed, to feel good,
Mm.
to feel positive, to be able to see what they may need to do within their life, to for their subconscious to give them maybe messages or colors or whatever it might be.
Mm.
It's a wonderful place to be.
Mm. Definitely, definitely. I think I think sometimes it's more holding space and providing that energy to see what they're. But I'll often say to a client, we'll give the body Reiki and see what the body does with it.
Mm,
Because the body will take it and do what it needs to do. And it'll always be different every session that that
hmm.
client has. If they have 10 sessions or whatever, or they have continuous maintenance, it's always going to be different.
Yeah,
How that
yeah,
body takes that energy. Sometimes it'll be all about insights. Sometimes it'll all be about a certain area of the body or a past life or a clearance of something
yeah,
or an upgrade about something or connecting into a star system that they're from.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And I always say that to my clients, you know,
Mm,
every session it will never be the
mm,
same. Every session will be different. What you receive is exactly what you need at
mm,
that specific time.
mm,
Because time is irrelevant in the realms
mm,
of energy. Distance is irrelevant, and that's why
mm,
distance healing is also just as effective as
mm,
in-person Reiki. You know,
mm,
we're all energy and we're all now.
mm,
So that
mm.
there isn't a separation.
Yeah, I think distance healing is becoming much, much more popular because, it's nice to go to a hands-on place. I think hands-on places are great, but I think sometimes it's also nice to be in your own space,
Yeah.
to have your own blanket around you, to lie on your own sofa or your own bed.
Mm.
Often I'll have a Reiki session, my own personal, then you've got to get home and you're going out and you're feeling like, whoa, and get on a bus, drive a car, get a taxi, walk, whatever. And it's like, whereas when you're in your home space,
Yeah.
you're there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I remember when I received a shamanic healing last September, and it was great to be in this room, in
Mm.
this chair, with my own stuff around me, and then go off afterwards and have some cacao and something light to eat, without
Mm.
having to think, right, what time's my bus, and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I need a
Yeah.
toilet, that type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, because it brings the external back in again,
mm,
doesn't it? You've
mm,
just gone through all that wonderful, peaceful practice of just like feeling all floaty and light, and then all of a sudden you have to go out and the brain kicks back in again, and you know, and you have all those things that you have to think about, all the stresses and strains or anxieties that might come up,
mm,
you know, because anxiety is a big thing for people to actually go and speak to another person now and meet another person is just like for many now it's just like
mm,
no it's so debilitating to them. They can't do it.
mm,
So that's why distance healing is such a wonderful way to just treat yourself and receive
mm,
that healing in the space, in your own
mm,
space, your own
mm.
home.
Yeah, and about anxiety as well. For someone that's in heightened anxiety to actually get to a place, a strange building.
Mm,
When you've got anxiety, you're wondering about, where is it? Do I have to walk through loads of people? Have they got a toilet? You
yeah.
know, do I have to have a code to get there or whatever? It's like, what if I walk into the wrong room? It's all this stuff going through your mind.
Mm,
Whereas when you just have to wake up, put your Zoom on or whatever, you're
yeah.
there, right? Yeah, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. It's a lovely way to just treat yourself. Um, and it's funny as well because I know when I first started doing the Reiki, predominantly my client base was all distance.
Mm,
Now it's about 50-50, but I probably have, well, maybe I have 60-40. Probably have
mm,
a little bit more in person now than I do distance. Um, but both are so unique and so
mm,
wonderful in their own way. And I mean, for me as a practitioner, when it's in person, I have more of a connection to the actual person. It's like an empathic connection that I have with
mm,
them. When it's the distance, it's more of like a psychic,
mm,
spiritual connection
mm.
that I have with them. Both forms are so wonderful and so unique, but
Yeah.
both just as amazing as each other.
Mm. Definitely, they are. They are. There's difference in a hands-on and difference in a, and I do keep getting pulled now and again to think about doing hands-on again, but I won't want to do it from home
Mm,
like I did in the past. And I'm not sure how that's going to play out.
yeah,
But I do. In the future, there's going to come a time when I start doing retreats and hands-on stuff again.
yeah,
I'm not on a full-time basis, but just to have a place somewhere
yeah,
that I can go to and have a room like this, but in a different. Because when you've got clients coming to your home, it's a
mm,
mm,
yeah,
been there, done that.
yeah. You have to be careful because you don't know
Yeah,
who's coming in, do you? And yeah. Plus their intentions, are the
yeah,
intentions right for the session,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's your home space as well. It's your safe space.
Mm,
And we know that. And I remember when I had this spa, I was told after I'd got everything that, oh, did you know, Claire, that when people go to a spa, they dump stuff energetically without realizing it. And I was like, and they did. They did. People
yeah.
do. They go into hot tubs and jacuzzis, and where you can sit on a spa, you let go,
Yeah.
and people are
Yeah, you just
dumping that in
release.
your garden, in your home.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing about energy, isn't it? Like
Mm,
having that awareness of that as well.
mm,
It doesn't really, it does get talked about, but I think sometimes as well it gets talked about from
mm,
like a real kind of like fearful angle,
mm,
whereas,
mm,
if you have your own strength and your own power, your own divinity, you can get through it, you can get
mm,
past all that. But
mm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's really, really
I
interesting.
think it's more for like when people do it in the living room or when people do it in a bedroom next door to
Mm,
their bedroom. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes
yeah,
if you're lucky enough to have a piece of land, like say if you I don't know, you're a farmer or something, you've got a barn that you can convert into something away from your actual
yeah, yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah. Separate from your actual residence or
mm,
where you're
yeah,
living, kind of
yeah.
thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been to places where, that it's been like an open house and I remember going to a reading for years. I couldn't get over this, mate. Her mum booked you in, right? And you were like, well, what do I do? She's right. You come to the back door, you go in, you let yourself into the kitchen, you sit down, you make yourself a tea and coffee, there'll be some biscuits out, and then you'll sit at table and she'll come in and call you. And I remember thinking, and I said, this, I'm talking noughties. And I remember thinking, sat in this kitchen, and she was one of those that one after the other, after the other, after the other.
All right.
And I remember thinking, you're like, put it this way, there were three of us waiting and one in. And when you
Mm,
came out, there were three waiting. It was raw. Anyway, and I was like, all this energy, people letting them into your kitchen, touching
mm,
your kettle, putting their hands in your drawer, touching your
mm.
coffee, all that energy, sat in your kitchen where your family's going to have the tea or whatever. And it was just like, this is bizarre. And
Like
then
a
she was
cattle
sat in,
grid.
yeah, yeah. And then she was sat in a living room, and it's like, tonight when you need to zone out. you've still got all this energy, all this reading energy in your living room, in your
Mm,
kitchen.
yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
I used to get that a lot from some of the spiritual fairs that I've been to, where there might be like 10 people around in the fair doing like sort of different readings for people
Mm,
or whatever, or
mm.
mediumship readings or tarot readings or whatever. You got all this energy floating about
Oh,
and what
yeah.
have you. And then I come home and I just can't sleep. I'm
Yeah.
just wired from all the energy because
Yeah.
it's just too much.
I'm not sure I don't think I've ever been to one, but when I think about them, I just think like that.
Mm.
Um,
I mean, when you first go in, it's just like, like the energy is so uplifting,
mm,
but then like at the end of it, you can't come back down again because you've had so much going on, and you've got all these other people doing all these different things and
doing it all
practices and what have you,
differently as well, and all this
doing it all
energy and
different. Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's like being chucked into a blender, and just
oh,
like whizzed around for a few hours and then chucked back out again. Get on with it now. Go. Like, oh God, yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
it's a wild ride out there, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it certainly is.
And I think as
Um,
well with a fair, it's going to be one after the other after the other. I think it's all right to go and advertise there, but I don't know, where was it? It wasn't a fair, it was a market, and there was somebody there doing Reiki, and it was like in the middle of a market, and it's like, whoa.
mm,
If
yeah, I
you
remember.
think about the Reiki and the safe space that you create, and you've got all these people walking past,
Yeah, yeah, this sacred space and the
yeah,
sacred time between practitioner and client and what
mm,
have you, and then you got people selling rugs and this that, whatever all around about.
yeah,
It's just like, yeah, yeah, very strange. But I remember, I can't remember who it was that told me, but somebody said years ago that there was a guy in London. Was it you that told me? It was a guy in
uh-huh.
London, and he called himself Buddha on the bike.
No,
Did you tell? No,
no,
I don't know who it was. It was somebody that told me he called himself Buddha on a bike, and basically he had this sign. He had like a sandwich board sign behind him. He was on this bike. He had like a little fold-up chair with him. He cycled around, cycled up to this like into a park or into this open space, and he offered Reiki to anyone that wanted to come along, have the Reiki session in London, and it was a half an hour session. I think it was something like £85 for like a
mhm.
half an hour session. Buddha on a bike, just like going around on a bike and just giving like Reiki in a park or a market or like just an open space somewhere. It's like wow, bloody hell.
No, I've never heard of him. God,
No. I wonder if he's on I wonder if he's on YouTube or
I'm
somewhere
gonna
like
Google.
that.
I'm itching to pick my phone up now.
Yeah, I'll have to Google him. Yeah.
Buddha on a bike, eh? You're missing
But
out on a trick there.
I know. Yeah.
George,
Bring,
Geordie on a
bring.
Geordie on a bike.
Oh God,
God,
yeah, yeah,
it's nuts, isn't it? I suppose, you know what, it is what it is.
yeah. I mean, I suppose if people are getting something from it, then they're getting
Mm,
something from it.
mm,
Um, yeah. So not exactly sacred, but then again, I don't know. Like, look at Tibetan monks and things like that. They tend to do things just out in the open
mm,
spaces, don't
mm,
they? Wherever.
mm,
But I suppose they do it in kind of like en masse, don't they? So it's like a
mm.
massive like ritual for them. So yeah.
I think one of the things I find as well is my perception's always getting tested in as far as you start off and you've got this itinerary that things you'll do and things you won't do. And then you see it from a different perspective and you think, actually, is that a bit fundamental or is that a bit fear-based? And then you
Mm,
may tweak how you do stuff, if that makes sense. And I think
yeah.
that's a big part of the evolution.
Yeah. Yeah. Perception's a
Mm,
huge thing. Um, because I said something to somebody weeks ago, and they were saying, "Oh, I always get these things wrong. I always do this wrong. I always get that wrong." They're always speaking so negatively about themselves. I just said to them, I said, "There is no such thing as right and wrong."
mm,
Well, of course there is. I did that wrong. I said, "No, you perceive that to be wrong,
mm,
but it isn't actually wrong. It's just from what you're aware of." I said,
mm,
if you're not shown the right way, then how can it be wrong? It's right in your mind."
mm,
So perception is a huge
mm,
thing. The
mm,
way we look at the world, we can say that, well, that's right or that's wrong, but
mm.
it's it. I think when you come into sort of a more of a non-dualistic state, and
Mm,
you look at it from the central point rather
mm,
than being right or wrong, you just look at it from a place of indifference and love and compassion, really, and just
mm,
it is what it is, kind of
mm.
thing. That sort of energy.
Yeah, it's if we grew up in a field somewhere without the conditioning, how would we have been? Do you know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
Especially without the social media. If you look, we remember life without social media,
Oh no. Oh.
and for although social media is great for our businesses and our work,
Yeah.
it's a shit show as well.
Yeah.
It's a real shit show with social media. Um, Imagine if you didn't have any of that.
Mm.
Like, I don't know about you, but obviously I'm a woman of a certain age. So you go online now and you'll see these reels about perimenopause and you'll expect this is it. Expect this, expect that,
Mm.
expect that. Now imagine if you never saw that video, you won't expect any of it.
Mm.
And therefore, would you go through any of it?
Yeah.
Whereas now you're like, especially if you've got hypervigilance within you.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
if you've been down an anxiety route, you get hypervigilance with an anxiety.
Yeah.
And there's a whole host of other things out there that they're doing it with.
Mm. It's
And
more
it's like,
fear-based, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there's going to be some slight changes, but what we're being pummeled with by
Mm.
well-being
Yeah.
influencers,
Yeah.
and I'm conscious of that seeds being planted. And I don't think they're
Mm.
doing it intentionally, but when you learn about energy, it's like, whoa.
Mm. Yeah. There's so much stuff still that is, like you say, from people that are like sort of influencers or
Mm,
well-being coaches, this, that, and the other, which is so heavily fear-based, um, and not really pointing people back to where they need to point back to, which is back to
mm,
themselves. And like you say, expect this or expect that, or you need to do this, or you need to do this, like going back to exercise, you need to do this exercise in this way, or you won't get these results, and da 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 da.
mm,
Well, yeah, that might not have worked for you, but it might work totally different for somebody else. Everybody's anatomy and the physiology, everything,
mm,
okay, all function the same way, but we're all different. Everything is different.
mm. Yeah, it is.
Mm,
It is. It's almost like the dark side of the well-being community.
mm,
Because you come to get well-being, but then you're thrown all this information, and it's like, whoa.
yeah. And how do you process it? How do you deal with it? What does this mean? What does that mean? How do I get that? Where do I get that from? And then they'll say, well, do your own research. Oh. All right, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks for that.
yeah. Because the truth is, you'll get 10 people that'll get trained in the same Reiki course. That those 10 people will go off and do it very differently
Mm, yeah,
with their own unique blueprint.
yeah.
So it's finding what resonates for you.
Mm,
But I always think as well, come back to your own inner, and this is about switching on the inner guru.
mm, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's why one of the Reiki precepts is to live your life authentically or practice your Reiki in your way, not
mm,
somebody else's way,
mm,
not Mikao Sui's way, but practice it in your own unique way,
mm, mm,
because it's what resonates with you. Um, and eventually, as you evolve and as you learn and pick up different techniques and learn more about the energy, you become more aware, and your practice adapts and it
mm,
changes, and
mm,
it's got to change and adapt because it's energy, it's fluid,
mm, mm,
it's
mm,
always evolving.
mm. And the energy is changing in the world, and the body's changing, and humans are changing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the energy that evolves within us, it affects the physical. It's the physical. I mean,
Mm,
I often say to clients will always ask me and say, like, oh well, how long will it take to fix this in the physical body? You're like, well, you got to understand that the physical body is the last element that is
mm,
going to be fixed because it has to
mm,
work on your energy first, that then it has to work on your mind and your emotions, and then it'll eventually integrate into your physical body.
mm, mm,
But until you start dealing with all that, then your physical body is going to hold on to
mm.
whatever we need to work with.
Yeah.
Mm,
Why it takes time. It takes time and
yeah,
patience.
it's a process, really is.
If you think about mind control and grooming, that can take years to unravel that. And we've all been mind controlled and groomed in
Mm,
various different ways. Sometimes it's not even been intentional, it's just been the institution that you were educated in, or the family
mm,
background, or the circle of friends you've had, or your own even relationship with yourself, because we can mind control ourselves as well. And that takes time to ask anyone that's been in a cult, it takes time to unravel.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's why this process, that we're seeing on the planet, with the new Earth coming in, the new frequencies, the new
Mm,
vibrations that people are moving through. That's why it takes time.
mm,
And you always get these people that are like, oh, when's it going to happen? When we're going to be in 5D? Well, if you're not already living in 5D, then
mm,
it's going to take you a long time.
mm,
You've got to
mm,
actually live it because it comes through you.
mm,
So
mm,
if you're not
mm,
living authentically, if you're not living in the vibration of love, if you're not being compassionate to yourself and others,
mm,
it's going to take a lot longer. And again, it
mm,
all comes down to your perception. How are you perceiving the world that is around you? How are you perceiving your own inner world as
mm,
well? Because that is the key to it, your
mm,
perception. If you're filled with anger about what they're doing and what they're doing, and look at that, and oh, this is scaring the crap out of me, and da da da, it's creating all that
mm,
turbulence
mm,
internally.
mm.
Mm,
It really is. It's interesting.
mm,
They do say, don't they, 2032 is going to be when the next boom, because it was 2012 and 2032 is when we go into the anchor, the 5D in. So
yeah,
in 2012, there was lots of people having breakdowns. The amount of people you will speak to that will say, God, in
yeah,
2012 I got divorced, or 2012 I got diagnosed with cancer, or 2012 I had a breakdown. It's because that energy came into the earth, boom,
mm,
and it caused chaos because it showed all the traumas and it
yeah.
came out as a boom. And it's going to be
Mm.
the same in 2032 when the 5D firmly anchors in.
That was in what's Diane Cooper's book as well, The Golden
Mm,
Future, 2032, and
mm,
that's when it'll first start to anchor, and you'll start to see like big changes really starting to take place then.
yeah.
But I think looking at from what I remember, it's like 2050 something. I think is when it's like starts to really start kind of like
Bloody hell.
take in. So yeah, so we've got a long haul, but we've got to keep fighting the good
Yeah,
fight. We've got to keep
yeah,
shining the light for the
yeah.
future. Yeah, and not let the buggers grind you down.
Well, keep shining bright, shine your lights bright and all
Shine your
that.
light.
Yeah. Namaste and all of that. Love and light.
Mm.
Keep your chin up. Keep
Keep
your
your
chin
chin
up.
up. Keep your pecker up.
Yeah. Can only get better.
Yeah.
Can't get any worse. But it
There's
could
only
be
one way to
worse.
go now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way
We're
is
nearly
up.
there.
Yeah.
Next shift's a big shift. You wear it, don't you? You're like, shut up.
Oh God, I know.
God.
It's like a broken record, isn't it?
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
God.
Because I think
It,
as well that like sort of sitting and waiting for something like that to happen, again, it just instills like more fear because you're like, well,
mm,
where is it? Where's it gone? Why is it not here? Why am I not feeling
mm,
this? Why am I not getting that? It's just like, for goodness sake, just get on with
mm,
your life.
mm,
Start living, start harnessing yourself, start looking after you, start looking after your body, exercise, eat well,
mm,
doing what you
mm.
can, what works for you, what resonates with you.
And it'll change as you'll be able to receive those energies correctly. Because a lot of
Mm,
the time you'll get the upgrade, but if you're not in a good state, you can't harness it and you can't alchemize it and hold it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
well, we've covered some
Well,
ground. I'm conscious of time for you,
oh, we
Ian.
have indeed.
Yeah,
I
you've,
know,
you've, you've
I
you've got a
know.
call in.
I have. I've got a client. I've got a dash soon. So yeah. But yeah, I think we've covered quite a bit. I
Yeah,
think
we
it's
have.
been an interesting discussion about the physical and the spiritual and the
Mm,
energetic and what have you. So it's been really good. It's been really good to see your
mm.
beautiful face once again and to
Oh,
catch
thank
up.
you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and you're looking really,
Um,
really well.
thank you. It's all the cacao, the nettle tea.
I thought you were going to say it's all the cocaine there.
It's all the cacao.
Cacao.
Nettle tea,
Bloody love it.
exercise, diet, and the facials that I'm doing on a night as well. And I'm on in the cold facials where I splash my face with ice cold water.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you never mentioned that in our pre-video
Oh
chat.
no, but yeah, I'm
It
doing
was
that
all,
as well.
it was all about nettle tea and cacao
Yeah, yeah.
before, yeah. Because the nettle
So,
tea
yeah.
is really good, hydration and skin and
Mm,
all that sort of
mm,
stuff.
mm.
Yeah, yeah, well,
Yeah.
good.
I'll
Keep it
put you.
up.
I'll put your details down below. I'll put your YouTube because you're on YouTube. So
I
if
am
you want to
indeed.
follow Ian, go and follow
Yeah.
Ian.
Head over, come and have a look,
Yeah.
see what I've got on offer. Bit of all
Roll up, roll
sorts.
up.
Roll up, come down to the market. We've
Oh
got
God, yeah.
meditations, Reiki sessions, Qigong
Mm,
sessions,
mm.
podcasts,
Past life.
loads of ones with me and Claire from
Yeah.
years and years ago when we
500 years
first
ago.
met. 500 years ago. We're looking well. We're looking well. Eh? The ascension wearing is is
Oh
wearing well.
God. God, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all sorts.
it's all in the description box.
Yeah,
I think
so
that's
I'll
it, isn't
see
it?
you there. So yeah,
We will wish everyone a merry way.
a merry
If you
way.
enjoyed this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe on each channel.
Yeah, I'll share all yours in
Hmm.
when I share it on my channel as well. So
Yeah.
if you want to watch the video twice, come over to my channel and watch it there as well.
As you do.
How can you not get enough of this,
I
eh?
know, I know, I know. Watch it twice. Right. I
Right,
will
okie
I no,
dokie.
it will be I will see we will see you later. We will see you
We will
later.
we will see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye. Oh,
Hey,
oh,
take it off.
I don't think I recorded, you know.
You did.
Did I?